Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 141 of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. As you all know, we are a Paul McCartney talk show, mainly dealing with the solo career of the one and only Macca. And I'm one of your two co hosts, Tom Hunyadi. You may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk. And I'm being joined, as always, by my partner in crime, a backwards traveler. He is Andy Nichols. Andy, what is going on, my friend?
Talk more
More.
talk. Well, finally we get to talk. That ties into our show today a little bit.
Absolutely. We're gonna do just you got the magazine right there, right? We're gonna go over and we're gonna talk about this new special deluxe edition of Paul McCartney Press to Play at 35. We both just got this in the mail last week and read it, and we're gonna talk about it. So, but first, Andy, what's going on? How you been, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just keeping on, and you got some goodies to show. I don't have any really
Yeah,
good Beatle related stuff. I only just got the new Dylan box set, of the volume
yeah.
16 of the New York years, which is
Isn't that crazy? 16 volumes already, man. That's
16
crazy.
volumes in the bootleg series, and then this one it's just scratching the surface. It's 16 volumes of
Right.
bootleg stuff. There's somebody who knows how to market himself,
Oh, absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
got that. But Beetle wise, things have been a little quiet. Haven't really hit any fines, but you did pretty well.
Yeah, I did pretty well today and a couple days ago, but I'm really excited too because Kiss has finally did something right for a change when it comes to their home media. Their home physical media. They just announced a big, massive box set for their 1976 album Destroyer, which I'm really excited about. I pre-ordered that over the weekend, and it was like about $200, and you just got. I think it was like 4 discs and then a Blu-ray, and then you got all this, replica memorabilia from that time. And I was just really excited because they finally seems like they're starting to do it right when it
Do
comes
it
to
right.
for the box set here, because they've done some box sets and some special editions of their albums. They just weren't up to snuff, but this finally seems like it's going to be a really good set, so
Is
looking
there
forward to
somebody
that.
else like managing their or is it different
No, it's just
management?
it's usually their guitar player now, Tommy Thayer, who dresses up in the ace, the spaceman makeup. He's usually in charge of that kind of thing. Well, he'll put like the stuff together, and he knows people that has all the like original memorabilia from that time, and so he'll contact those people and get them to loan them their memorabilia to stick
For
into a
the
set.
for
Right,
yeah.
right. So it sounds like they finally listened to fans, and they're finally putting together a package that's worth you know the money that they're
Good.
that they're doing. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited because we just finished our ranking, our albums ranking, our 30 favorite albums. And a lot of people suggested some great albums. So my wife and I yesterday went to Zia Records, and I had my list. I was been writing some stuff down of albums that I want to get and check out because I never had checked them out before. So kind of excited about that. I picked up 5 CDs. I listened to one today. Was very happy with it, and I think this was one of your picks actually that I got, and that was Steely Dan's
Asia.
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 Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, really liked this one a lot. Enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah. I was kind of familiar with some of the other songs, especially Black Cow, and
Black
then
Cow.
yeah, and
Yep.
Josie. Um,
Deacon
so yeah,
Blues.
Deacon. Well, everyone, yeah, Deacon Blues and Peg. I mean, those are
Big ones.
your
Yeah.
singles from the album. But yeah, I mean, really enjoyed that album. Another one I picked up was Love, Forever
Forever
Changes.
Changes, of course,
Yeah,
1967, the gold
yeah,
standard.
right. So listen to half of that, and then I enjoyed the music a little bit more than I enjoyed the lyrics, but I'm going to give it a couple more listens, and then see how I feel about that. Another Steely Dan, the
The
Royal
Royal
Scam.
Scam,
Yes,
1976. Yeah.
yeah. So check this one out as well. I believe our boy Dylan suggested this one. This was in, I think, his top 20, and that was Warren Zevon. This
Warren
is
Zevon.
Excitable Boy.
Excitable Boy. Great
This
record.
one has Werewolves of London on it. That would be the track that everybody probably knows off
And
that.
Excitable Boy.
Yeah. And then Tom Brennan suggested this one. This is Loggins and Messina. This is Full Sail from '73. I've never been the biggest Loggins and Messina fan. That song, "Your Mama Can't Dance and Your Daddy Don't
Yeah.
Rock." I never liked that song.
No,
never, li-
no,
never liked
no.
that song. But it's not on this album, so hopefully I'll like it. But yeah, I'm gonna figured give them a chance. I got those CDs used, so I mean, didn't cost
Good.
much.
No,
So
Zia. We love
yeah,
Zia and all
yeah.
75 of them out there.
And I think I took you to 70 of them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You also had a pretty revelation to me during the week. You texted me that you finally listened to the entire of Captain Fantastic and you
Yes,
liked it.
yes.
And I've
I
always been
I
telling you that
loved
for the
it.
last two
Let,
fucking years to listen
let
to
me
that
tell
thing.
you, I don't know what
I don't know
I don't
what
know
you were
what
waiting for.
happened when I first listened to it back in the mid '90s. When I first heard the album, I don't know what happened, but then yeah, so played it and just adore the record. I went to go see if I could find it on vinyl today at the Groove, and they didn't have a copy, unfortunately. But
Well,
I'll
that the
get it.
new yeah,
Yeah,
that one was
yeah,
all part of the 17
right,
reissues.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Beautiful,
I'll
beautiful,
definitely. Oh,
beautiful
amazing!
packaging on that too.
Yes,
Beautiful
love the
packaging. Lyric
artwork on
books,
there. Yeah, yeah, great stuff.
curtains we all fall in love
Yeah,
sometimes. Oh,
right. Now Caribou, that might be a different story because you know, I can't stand the bitches back, and I've never been a big fan of "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on
yeah,
Me."
but the
So
Dave tracks on that album are
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Pinky,
Mountain too. Yeah,
Grimsby,
yeah.
and Ticking. I'm telling you, Ticking is one of the top 10 Elton John songs of all time.
All right, well, all right. I'll believe you.
I'm telling you. Listen, I didn't stay your own with Captain. Listen to Ticking. I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Then I had to run some errands today, and I was just like, screw it, let's just go to the In Groove and see what I can find. And I was just flipping through the stuff and found some nice stuff. And tell you, I mean, I thought I was really fine with what I had with the Wings Over America because I had the reissue, the color reissue
The
from
color
the
reissue, yeah.
reissue. So then I'm scanning through, and those Columbia ones they're hard to find. So
Very hard.
so I actually found a really really nice edition of Wings Over America, the Columbia
The
version. You can
Columbia
tell it's
label.
Columbia
You
because it's
oh
got the lines there out there on the
yep.
side.
And
You know,
It's got the Columbia font.
yep, Columbia. It's just a gatefold. So you got the two albums in one and one album on the other side. But really nice shape. The jackets are really nice shape, and I'm really happy I found that fairly nicely priced at $20. So
Yeah, that's a
in
good
there,
deal.
yeah. And the other one I was happy to find was UK Apple or whatever pressing EMI of a Band on the Run. Now,
I knew I'd rub off on you a little bit,
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is,
Mister I don't buy original pressings
yeah.
and blah
Well,
blah
the
blah
thing is,
blah.
the jacket's in nice shape. I mean, if
Oh, it
there's
was
a
beat up.
if it was beat up or in ring wear and all that and all that shit, I wouldn't have bought it. But the vinyl is really nice. I love the little apple in the corner there. You
Yep,
know,
signifying it as
so
a UK release.
yeah,
Absolutely.
right, right, right. It came with the poster was there, so I saw. Oh, what the hell?
How
I
much
think
was
this is
that?
my $20 as well, so not
Okay.
bad. Nicely
Now
priced.
yeah, you're up to
Yeah,
about 8 or 9 copies of Band on the Run. Now
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
getting there. You're getting there now. There you go. See, I knew I'd rub off on you
yeah,
eventually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see here. This just came in the mail the day after we got the Special Deluxe
Yeah, now that's only a
magazines.
UK, but it's available here now, I think.
Is it now being okay? So this is the Mike Evans book. This is Paul McCartney, the stories behind the songs. I only thought this was available in the UK, but if you're saying you can get it here now, that's
Yeah,
that's
Barnes& and
great.
Nobles is selling it
Yeah,
now.
awesome, great. So I haven't looked into it yet because we are reading the press to play at 35 the last couple days because I've been working a lot too, so I haven't had really a lot of chance read, but this is, just the it says Paul McCartney's songwriting output as a member of the Beatles has been exhaustively documented in this book. Liverpoolian commentary and music journalist Mike Evans examined more than 50 key songs from McCartney's long career after the breakup of the Fab Four. So, he's pretty much just going over the stories, he's talking about the albums, and he's not telling the stories of every song, like one or two per album. And
Right.
then so just the key facts on the songs. I'd like to see how this is going to be different from the McCartney lyrics book, to see if any of the stories
Yeah, will they
mesh.
match up and tie up,
Right.
or are you going to give us a different story in either thing, which will be interesting and good timing.
Yeah, exactly. So happy to have that. So we'll get that.
Nice cover too. Nice
See,
cover
I
there as
actually
well.
like that photo, Paul. I think,
Great photo.
yeah, yeah. Um, then the thing I was really happy about was, as soon as I got home today,
Ah,
I got an email saying I got a package. So I went to the package to go get what it came in the mail, and and we got the
the
two frisbees.
frisbees.
Yes, two frisbees. The red rose. Let's see here. The red rose
Love
Speedway
it.
from '73. You can see the Apple and EMI on there,
Just like Paul
on
throwing
the
them out the
sides.
concert, right out the face,
Yes,
just throwing them out.
exactly. Right. Then you got the Venus and Mars '75, and you see the EMI and MPL
Amy,
logos on there.
Amy,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I am going to frame these suckers, put them up on the wall at some point, and just cherish them. Um,
Nice
won't be throwing
scores,
them.
my friend.
Yeah, won't be throwing them at the dog anytime soon.
I should hope not.
No, yes. So yeah, it's been a nice couple days. Finding
Nice when you
stuff.
get those good days where you do get some good finds. You
Right. Yeah.
go through dry spells. You don't see anything in the store,
Right.
and then you get lucky and you go for and you just get a couple of good finds. That's the best
Right.
thing.
Right.
Great
And
feeling.
then lastly, I did find another Beatles book here. This is the Beatles, the real story. This is from '68. This is Julius Fast. So curious about this one. If anybody has read that before, please let me know your thoughts about this book.
Always
Uh,
interesting just to read books published that from back then
that
because
early, yeah,
the narrative was different, of course, even
exactly.
before the 70s. So, uh,
Good point. Yeah.
the writing, especially any writing, especially back then, always worth picking up if you can get a good deal on it.
Yeah, I mean, especially, depending on who they interview too, their memories are probably a little bit better than they would be, especially now. You know,
Hmm.
um, a lot of memories are fresher in the mind, especially in those younger Hamburg years, or the earlier,
Sure.
early Beatlemania years. So, really interesting to see that. Glad I found it. So yeah, so again, it's just really nice for everybody to reach out to us and comment at the YouTube page about all of those albums. And really had a great time with that, with Andy, seeing your picks, and discovering new music. And that was basically one of the reasons why I wanted to do it too, was discovering new
Absolutely.
music.
Absolutely.
So
Lot of great comments on those videos, which was really
yeah,
nice to see come in. People put their ranking and stuff and
yeah,
things, and mostly Nicole, everybody was pretty positive with those comments. And kudos to Tom for the idea to do it. I think we showed everybody that we kind of spread our wings, to borrow a Queen song, and we have lots of varied tastes of music. We might just be a
right,
McCartney puff, but we're into all
right,
different genres of music with that stuff,
yeah,
and we can dive down rabbit holes of other music for weeks at a
absolutely.
time. And then
I liked
we've
we
done
had
that.
Yeah, I like that we had a bunch of the same bands, but just different albums from them.
That was
You
very
know,
cool too.
yeah,
Two
So
or four, two or four.
yeah,
We've all
you were '80s Queen and I'm '70s Queen.
right.
And it's just really interesting how that worked out. So
Yes. Well done.
yes. So let's chat about
Yeah.
this Paul
Our fr-
McCartney, Press to
our
Play at 35.
written by or edited by Paul
Paul
Sinclair
Sinclair.
from
Yep,
Mr. Super Deluxe Edition.com. And
yep,
this
yep.
is the second volume that, well, actually they did a book when Flowers came out on the
Right,
producers,
right.
and then they did a special on the McCartney Archive, 10 years in the
Chives
making.
years.
Now, I don't
Right.
have either of those. Do you?
I have a print. I think David printed the text on the hours
Okay.
booklet. So I have it, and I have it printed out, but it's not the actual,
Book.
produced piece. Correct.
Right. So,
Correct. So
um,
the magazine came in this nice little, magazine size
oh,
Ziploc
Christ,
bag.
you kept that
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got to keep this nice.
Put it on the shelf, Mister. I no hype sticker.
Yeah, well, the high sticker does say it's peelable, but I think I'm just gonna leave that on there for
Yeah,
now.
leave that sucker on.
But here's the thing. This was only 1,000 copies were made, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought maybe you had a bigger audience for maybe 2 to 3,000. But he knows. Paul would know better than us, than we, about how many copies that he would get. Now, we was first understanding that it was only going to be the first 500 signed, but
Right.
then we learned that it was 500 were signed, but not necessarily 1 to 500.
No,
Right,
it were just random 500 signed.
right.
Yeah.
So I had
Um,
ended up getting let's see here, copy one, or sorry, 561.
561.
Right, and mine was signed. So when I did
And
see the signature, I was really surprised.
yeah,
Yeah. So
signed by Hugh Padgham, which is
yeah.
awesome.
So then, what number did you get? So I got five. What was it? 561. What number did you get then?
I got 962
Wow, up there.
up there, and mine was only signed by Paul, not by Hughes. So
Yeah.
just cool, just very cool that
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
you just wonder like what was the impetus to revisit Press to Play at 35? Why not at 30 or 40? 35 years later, we're going to revisit it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah. I kind of question too why revisit it now at 35. But I mean, if Hugh was actually interested in talking about it, then great, good. I mean, it could have been press to play at 46, and I would still would have been
Of course.
fine with this. But there's some very interesting comment made by Hugh in this article. I mean, Paul asked some good questions when you open it up. You got a little introduction there by Paul.
Yeah.
Then he goes right into this interview with Hugh, looking really young there.
Yeah.
Probably what he looked like around
83,
85, 85
85-ish.
ish
Yep.
when the album was being recorded and produced. But right off the bat, there was this the question, how did you come to get involved in Press to Play, and the story about him, say,
Saying how his music was crap,
was
and now
crap.
yeah, and that his manager, his then manager's
Right.
wife, heard those comments.
Right. And then you get a call a couple days later and saying, Paul wants to talk to you. you
Yeah.
know, very very interesting. Way to get introduced to one of your heroes. Stating that songs you've been recording lately have been kind of on the wimpy side. So it comes up, it gets the meeting. Paul asks him, who, how would come up with the band and then sound and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. Now on the other hand, someone else is thinking he's going to produce the record, because there was a little bit of talk with Eric Stewart in here as well. Now there was also an interview conducted with Eric Stewart a few years back, I think in 2017,
Yep.
from Special Deluxe as well, stating Eric had thought right off the bat that he was going to be the producer, not Hugh. So Eric may not have had some nice words to say about Hugh coming in,
Right.
but both of them were told that they were going to be producing the record. So not kind of off to a good start.
No, but
Here.
that's Paul. That's Paul sometimes not being
Right.
the best communicator with
Right.
relaying what he really,
Perhaps.
he's always wants to please people. Oh, you could produce it. And, and
Right.
then you got to get a situation like these two guys. They
Right.
both think they're going to be the producer, and it just didn't happen.
Right. So another cool, or not cool, I should say, but another interesting thing too that I was reading, that he was kind of underwhelmed by the demos that
Yeah, he
cassette
says,
that was.
I quote, I remember getting a cassette of the demos. I went home and played them, and it was excitingly and decidedly underwhelmed. Damn.
Yeah, again, not off to a good start. But then again, you second think yourself, and who is he to to judge what these songs and McCartney. Obviously, maybe once he gets into the studio, they can work on these songs a little bit more, and then they become something different, which
Yeah.
they did, which they did. Yeah, so very interesting. The interview was good. We talk, brings up all the other, acts that he was producing at that time, Police and Genesis. Another interesting then too is, how highly the continuation of how highly people talk about Linda, is
Yes.
just, is just
Is nice.
fantastic. It's
Is
great to hear. It really
Yeah,
is.
because that really affirms the kind of person that she was, and everybody who's
Right,
ever worked with her always says the same thing, that she was just
right,
a lovely person and contributed to the spirit of what the album was, whatever they were working on.
right.
She very just down to earth, homey person, and everybody always says the same thing about her. Everybody.
Right. Everybody, yeah. So, however, though he does tell a story where he was, I think, driving to the hog, and he came upon a fish farm and bought some
Yeah,
fish,
he bought some
and,
fish and she wigged out,
and made
and the
the mistake.
the
Right.
roadie took the blame.
Yeah, yeah, made the mistake of putting it in the freezer, and
Uh,
obviously, when you do something like that, someone's gonna find out, and obviously, Linda, went into the freezer and found the fish there, and you know, someone got the scolding. Like you said,
Mr.
the
Trevor Jones, Mr.
yes,
Trevor
thank
Jones,
you,
the roadie
Mr.
got
Trevor
it.
Jones, the roadie. Thank you. Yeah, so that was a kind of a funny story as well. Um, another interesting bit was they get into a little bit of a, not really a tussle, but what was it? I'm wanting to do something over again, and Paul was like, well, when was the last time you wrote a
When was
number
the last
one?
time you were a number
You
one
wrote a number
hit?
one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yep.
Paul does not like criticism. He likes, he doesn't like criticism of his work. He rarely,
Unless you're George Martin, I
and
guess.
that is a good point, which because I liked Paul asked him in this interview that,
Right.
you know, with Tug of War and Pipes of Peace, because he was so familiar with them, like those albums were like pop, slick perfection, which are
Right.
great, and I love those records. But maybe Hugh felt that he was not challenged enough on those records,
Right.
which I actually disagree with. I think both those records are fantastic.
Tug of War, I think he was kind of challenged on. As we know,
Absolutely.
some of those songs that were first presented that the Wings were rehearsing ended up, not on Tug of War, but later on at Pipes of Peace. But yeah, I do think George kind of challenged him a little bit, and then George could get away with saying a few things.
George
Um,
could. Yeah.
George could, George could, but
Right.
not becoming producer like Hugh.
30-year-old Hugh Padgham. Like, I don't care how many hits you've had, kid. You can tell me what I can do. Fuck off. That's what he's saying.
Buffalo.
That's exactly what he's saying. I don't care who. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had hits with the Police and Phil Collins and Genesis. Okay. Who are they?
Right.
They're pimple on my ass.
Yeah. And then another interesting thing too is Paul asks him, so the overall experience, it wasn't a favorite one of his, and Hugh said, yeah, it definitely spoiled things. So it wasn't necessarily the final result, he wasn't necessarily happy with.
No.
So just
Which
a
which
few.
which which is
Go ahead.
unfortunate. It really is. No, it's unfortunate that he looks back at somebody who's like your icon, okay, and
Right.
he looks up to him, and you have this kind of experience that leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, you can see how Paul can be a really cool guy in the studio, and you can see how he can become a kind of a little bit of a offended if you say the wrong thing in the studio,
Depending on who you are,
depending on who you are. I guess
there was
if you're
there was a
someone that, but
there was a wonderful statement in here that sums up a lot. I forget if it was the interview with Hugh or the interview with John Potoker. He said, "There's only one person who could ever tell Paul McCartney, no, your song stinks," and that was John
that was
Lennon.
John Lennon, right? And I think that was Hugh. Yeah.
I think that was
um
Hugh, and Hugh
yeah.
says that's actually probably and that's got to be the God's honest truth.
Right, right. Yeah, so cool. I mean, he plays it cool. He takes the high road when talking about
He does.
Eric
He does.
Stewart, which was nice because you really don't want to see a little, a battle between words with two, with both men are talented people. I mean, let's not take it away from these two individuals because they've all had their success, Eric and Hugh.
Yeah,
It just so happens, unfortunately, this particular one was not a success. To Paul, anyways.
to
From
Paul. I
Paul's
mean,
canon.
yeah, not in Paul's canon, and it's
Right.
it's just it's the one. And listen, I know it's got its fans. We know that Ken Michaels adores this record, and
Right.
and it certainly has
Kiddo,
its.
Kiddo Tool as well.
Kit does this too, and it's got its high points, but it's really
Yeah.
the one that is really, by and large, I think a lot of people that just put this one back on the back burner and say, "The heck with it." But and we've reviewed it. We've done shows on it. We ranked the tracks on it. So I mean, but I think you and I both agree that it is what it is as
It
far
is
as
what
this
it is.
record.
I think there's some really, good stuff on here, and I think there's some crap,
Yes,
on here as well. And as we continue to go along with the magazine, then we get Paul's, take on the track
track by
by
track,
track.
and yeah, and like we could just thumb through it real quick, like
Yeah.
Stranglehold. So all his ratings were out of 5 stars. Okay,
Right. Right.
so he gives Stranglehold 2 stars. So you wouldn't really like that. Good Times Coming, he gives 3 stars.
Right. Hold on
Feel the
for one
Sun.
second though. You also get some adverts of
Oh,
singles
yes,
too. You
absolutely.
know,
Awesome
I don't know if you
pictures in
can
here.
tell.
Great,
Right.
great picture from the press, still from the press video on the
Right.
underground.
Right.
And
Yep.
I'm not, a Waterloo station, I think, is where he is when he gets off. I forget. I'm sure
Right.
our UK friends will correct
Right.
me.
Right. And then another cool thing too is he'll talk about the different mixes when it comes to the singles,
Well, that's
to
in
the
the
press.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
All the different singles and remixes and stuff, which is
Right.
all covered in the section with
Right. Right.
John Potoker, the producer. But I mean,
Right.
as Tom pointed out, great ad. I mean, I never saw this advert in my life until I saw this.
Right.
And this is
Right.
just tremendous, high quality photo for Only Love Remains, and the I'm talking about a hype, right? Play
Right.
it till your heart is content. 7-inch and 3-track 12-inch are out now, which was, as we read in the book, this was the third and final single from Press to Play,
Right.
which was just basically a kind of a Hail Mary to salvage something of it. I mean, I know in the U.S. the album went to number 30. I don't know what it went to in the U.K. off the top of
I
my
think
head.
it did fairly better. I
Probably, I
should
think
have.
it maybe
Yeah.
15.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe 15. I'll do a quick check for us. Hold on while we're recording.
Right.
But
But then, to continue with the tracks, then we go to Talk More Talk. He does, excuse me, kind of, talk trash about this one, which is fine.
talk more talk.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Some of his comments I think were fine. I wasn't offended by his judgment on these songs as well. And then you get a little snippet from Hugh as well, on each
Oh, well,
track
yeah. Well,
before the next.
Hugh will give you
Yeah.
his memory of each song. Forgot about that.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah, which was a nice touch as well. So, Talk More Talk, I think they only gave 2 stars to Footprints. Now, one of my favorite songs.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Just a
they
side note, Tom, it got to number
yeah,
8 in the UK. So it did
eight
well.
in the UK. Yeah, it's fine in the UK. I mean, listen, 8 for anybody else but Paul is great.
Right. For
You know,
Paul, it sucks.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Footprints, he talks very highly of, which I was very excited to see. Um, even Hugh says, I love Footprints, reminds me of Norwegian Wood, not musically, but the general vibe. So that was really cool to see. They gave it 4 out of 5, which
Which is a
good.
worthy praise. And yeah, he
Right,
likes it.
right,
Reminds me of Norwegian Wood. Now,
right,
yeah, Only Love Remains, which Hugh says, I remember Tony Visconti coming down to the studio.
yeah,
We had an orchestra and did it in air. And I know Paul said, and Paul Sinclair, I must say, does such a great job of pulling information from the contemporary resources and the publications of the
mhm,
time, because
right,
he's gone through all the stuff that was
right,
available and gone back and referenced what Paul said at the time, which is
correct.
one of the crown jewels of this whole thing.
Yeah,
So
good point.
he's
Good point.
he's talking about Only Love Remains, and Paul says in '86, people have heard that album and say, "Oh, that's the McCartney I like." So it's like a typical
Right.
McCartney song, a song
Hmm.
like Only Love. But I like that Paul did that. Although he always feels the song should have had an intro. He feels the
Right.
song just starting out like that.
Right.
It needed an intro.
Right. So then we move on to press, which I think again, he wasn't really fond of, but doesn't really trash either. Giving it a 3 out of 5. Hugh, I like all I can say about Press is that it's an up-tempo song that sounds very 80s to me. And that was another thing about Hugh. Interesting, where you know he said it is it is of its time. He said it does sound very 80s to him. So I know there's some people might not like it when they say like an album is of its time, or you
Yeah.
can tell what decade it's from. But yeah, I definitely think that I listen to it and I think, okay, this is an 80s record. I
I
don't
mean,
know
I
about
remember
you,
too.
but
It's an
yeah,
absolute, it's an 80s records. And let's try to remember where Paul was at this time, okay?
right,
Paul McCartney in 85, 86 was a 42, 43-year-old guy, which by most people was considered a dinosaur then.
right,
He
right,
wasn't really hip with anybody of the video age and anybody that was big then. So he was considered a dinosaur 35 years ago.
right,
So it's hard to think about it now, but this was somebody trying to stay hip, and
right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He's always wanted to do that, and I think that when he gets criticized for it, it kind of pisses me off a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
Because
You know,
he could just be simple and just say the same old thing, but he's trying to use new technology, new producers. He could just say, you know what, I'm going to just stay Beatle Paul and not go outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to try to stay fresh. I'm going to use new people, which is stuff that he even does now.
correct. Correct. Again, he'll show, the cassettes. He'll show,
Yep.
there's a nice picture of the 10-inch press
Which
single, which
which
I
you
just
just you
found a
just
couple
got.
weeks ago. Yeah, but
Yep.
I learned something. It was only limited to 6,000 copies. I did not know
Yes.
that,
Very
which I was
limited.
very, very excited about that. Let's see here. Pretty little. So going on the Pretty Little Head, that's another one that he talks very highly
That
of.
that one they
Go
speak
ahead.
very highly of, rightly so.
Right.
I mean, that actually I think is the highest rating out of all the ratings Paul gave. I think Pretty Little Head is the highest, 4 out of 5 stars.
Well, the
Which
same with Footprints as well.
and I'm sorry, and Footprints as well.
Yeah.
But Hugh says, I quote, I think this was a case of let's do something out there. Certainly
Right.
was.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice little picture of the cassette single of Pretty Little Head. They talk about the different mixes on there, which we'll also get to towards the end of
Yep.
this issue. But yeah, 4 out of 5. Great stuff. Now
Great
another one
stuff.
that kind of gets a little bastard to hear on the album is "Move Over Busker," which
Ooh,
again, yeah. But one that I think kind of gets shit on a little bit
too
when people
much, a
talk
little too
about.
much, right? You like it,
Yeah,
right?
maybe. I don't mind it. It's not a favorite of mine though. I don't know if I'd give it a 2 out of 5 like Paul does, maybe 3 out of 5. But it's not one that I've actually go to right away when I'm listening to this album.
That's like
But
the album's on, you're listening to it.
I'm listening to it, but not necessarily excited to hear it either.
No,
you know, you know. Hugh, I quite like the riff on the intro, although I'm not sure about the synthesized guitar. Fine. Moving over to Angry. Now, this was a track that, if you read that Eric Stewart interview, this was the track. This was one of the songs that they were working on. Linda calls up Eric Stewart later that night, and then she's talking to Gloria, his wife, and
right.
she goes, "Tell Eric that he's a bloody genius." So now here he is. He's thinking that
Now
like
I'm
you know
right.
I'm in, this is great. And then, then he says a couple weeks later, then he's out, so he's like, one day he's high on the hog. The next thing you know, he's, a pile of shit or something,
Right, right, right.
you know? So, but Angry, here's another track that you bring in Phil Collins, you bring in Pete Townsend. I can't say that this is one of my favorite tracks either. I think
Nah,
the 3 out of 5, maybe a little high. I'd probably go 2 out of 5 on this one.
I'm
But
with you on that, partner.
yeah, but there's great bass line here. I mean, Hugh said this is quite a good bass line. I mean, we did this, I remember, on a Saturday morning. We would have rehearsed a few times and a few takes, one of those go home, lunchtime sort of thing, and then come back and, you knock it out of the park. So again, it's a rocker. Not We didn't get a lot of rockers in the 80s from Paul, but I don't think it's one of the better ones.
No,
No,
not at
no,
all. And however,
no,
Absurd next gets
no.
3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, but now Hugh, I guess, yeah. What did Hugh say about however absurd? I used the wonderful Ann Dudley, who I was not familiar with, when I needed an arranger of all these songs. It doesn't have any structure to it, particularly from a production point of view. You just build it with a bit more orchestration. So he obviously
Mhm.
wasn't too fond of the song either.
Right. Yeah, and and Paul does talk about the the Beatlesque aspect of the
Right.
song. Does it if how people was like, well, Paul, this one might be a little too Beatly, but then
Mhm.
Paul's like, well, if anybody's gonna be Beatly,
I can.
I can. Right.
Yeah.
I like it. Now, I was really excited about this while I was flipping through reading it that they included the B-sides as well. So I love that they talk
Yes.
about the B-sides. I love that he mentions that these B-sides are, you know, a lot better than some of the tracks that
On
were
the album, and to me, as somebody who discovered this album in the CD age, to me, they're part of the
right,
album. They're not
right,
bonus tracks.
right,
I don't consider them bonus tracks. Now, you can't say that about every McCartney album because you just know the classics. But to
right,
me, somebody who grew up in the CD age, who didn't have this on vinyl initially, to me,
right.
Tough on a Tightrope and stuff like that is just, to me, that's just part of the album. It's
Right.
not
Yeah,
true
because you
right
got
away.
the CD. I mean, if you were to get the record first, you wouldn't have got those bonus tracks.
No, no, but vinyl. As I mean, I wasn't getting vinyl, when I was 5 years old in
Right.
1986, and you couldn't find a copy on vinyl really very
Right.
easily in the
Now, do
1990s.
you have the press to play? Do you have that '86 CD?
I do actually, right
Yeah.
here.
Now, does it say that those three songs are bonus tracks on there?
Um, they don't. They don't.
Okay.
You see,
So to you, they're actually part of the album when you're listening to that.
because there was nothing on here designating it like this is a bonus
This is a
track.
bonus
Now,
track, correct?
let's
Yeah.
let's take a look at Red Rose Speedway. Okay, original
Right.
EMI pressing. Okay, now the same
Right.
thing here. Now that's a German copy. Hold on.
Mm,
Here we
mm,
go. But even still, see here now. I'll see this is a little bit different now. See,
right.
Red Rose Speedway, for example, has the same thing.
Right.
A lot around Country Dreamer, the mess. Now, the problem here, the difference is I had my dad's copy of the record, so I knew where the album ended. I did not
Mm,
know with this. But I mean, if you were just to buy this, you didn't know. You're looking, okay, those are
right.
the extra tracks on the CD, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I always liked the initial print run of this one. It was always nice, I thought.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, to me, a 10-track album ending with However Absurd is I mean, those three tracks are better than some of the stuff on the album, to your point.
Agreed. Agreed. So favorite. They start with "It's Not True," which got a favorable rating of 3 out of 5. Excuse me. That one was mixed by our buddy Julian Mendelson, who we
That's
talked to
right.
last year, which we brought that up with him right away. Again, this one does even better, 4 out of 5, which I think would have been a great, nice fit on this album, perhaps. And then Tough on a Tightrope going 3 out of 5. Now he continues with the songs here, and I really love this because then he adds "Hang Glide," which was another Stewart McCartney composition, which was the instrumental. They gave that 4 out of 5, which was really cool. Maybe this would have been a nice fit on the album as well. Every once in a while he'll throw in an instrumental on an album, which I think
Yep.
is a nice touch. Then we go to "Spies Like Us," which again is another
Which
great
is
addition.
crazy. Great addition. I know Tom's a big fan. And it's crazy to think that
Right.
was his. I mean, and he makes a point of it in here that it was his last top.
Right. Top 10 hit in the
It was his
US.
last top 10 hit in the U.S. and it's not represented on any compilation.
Right.
How crazy is that? It was his last top 10 hit,
Right. It
and it's
didn't make all the best. I don't
all the
understand
best.
why.
Wingspan,
Right.
Pure McCartney,
Rings
and it's like
Pure McCartney. Right.
that was a top 10 single for him, and he's just
Right.
like, yeah, I don't care, I don't
Right.
care. That's wild.
Yeah. I just purchased 2 picture discs of Spies Like Us. I picked up the 12-inch picture disc of Spies Like Us, and then the 7-inch that's all
The seven
crazy
inch, it's
shaped.
all shaped. That's the
It's
one.
kind
Yeah.
of like the We All Stand Together crazy shaped picture disc. So should have those coming any soon. But yeah, and then also includes my favorite song that was done during those sessions.
Yvonne.
Yvonne. Oh my God, such a beautiful song. Maybe it wouldn't have fit the album, maybe, and I'm glad they didn't do anything crazy to It's like
I
they,
think it could have fit the album. I think it could have fit the album, and
yeah,
it's got a similar vibe to like
right.
Footprints a little bit
Hmm.
in terms of like
Yeah.
acoustic stuff.
Right, right. So then, so that was cool. I mean, I'm glad he included all those songs. I thought that was a great job by Paul for doing that. Then there's a little headline, what happened next. So then they talked about, what happened after Press the Play, and then I think right up to the Flowers in the Dirt.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Period. It was
Yeah. And then we get another interview, right?
Yeah, a little small section here, which is somebody who really loves the remixes. I mean, the interview with Hugh was great, but you're reading, and it wasn't as much in depth and stuff. But an interview with John Tokes Potoker, the guy who
Yeah.
did a lot of the remixes on this album and did a few other stuff for Paul too. And he worked with a whole bunch of people. It's Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Paul Young, and
Right.
everybody. And remix Spies Like Us. So kind of goes into the interview. Paul asks him, how did he actually get the gig working with McCartney and so forth. And
Right. Right.
yeah, just incredibly interesting because you think about so many different remixes. It was the age too. You had a 12-inch remix, 7-inch remix, a video remix. There was
Right.
all kind of different edits made during this
Right.
time. But
And it's just
yeah,
funny how none of those audio remixes included that, she's leaving home bit
from
from
the
the
video,
Pretty Little Ahead video, right?
right? But then you get a video edit of the press. You get Press's video edit released as a single, which is the video
Mhm.
edit, but you don't get the Pretty Little Head video edit. It's
Right.
very confusing, and
Right.
what is the damn shame with a lot of these remixes, and Paul points this out, is that
Yeah,
none of
you
them have
didn't get
been
them
on
on
CD.
CD.
You didn't get them
Right.
on CD. You got them
Get
on
'em on CD.
cassette. You got them
Right.
on 12-inch, but you never got them actually officially issued on CD. That's a
Right.
shame. Hopefully that changes eventually
Hopefully that changes. Right.
if Paul
Now,
revisits this album.
yeah. Well, and that's another question that I had for you because one of the reasons why I question why he's doing this, if it's not a favorite of his, is we want McCartney to do an archive edition of this album, do we not? I mean, this would be, I think, a great addition to the archive set if he does this. But this kind of thing, if he sees like still like unfavorable reviews of these tracks, then why would he give us then? Give us that. I
I
mean,
don't
you know what I mean?
I think the way culture is now, especially more people exposed to music, I don't think the album is going to get criticized,
Mm.
upon, I think every album has been, let's put it this way. How many of these archive campaigns have come out and people have said that album still sucks?
Mm.
Answer, none.
Yeah, for the
So
most part, yeah.
for the most part, I mean, even Rolling Stone, who trashed McCartney too,
Right.
that comes out again 9 years later. Oh, it's experimental. It's great. He's in. Well, no, he
Mhm.
was great in 1980. You clowns. You just didn't
Right.
hear it.
It's-
You just didn't hear it or realize it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think you'll get a lot of the same when this comes out again.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. They talk about the process, the remixing process, what he would do,
Oh
and
yeah.
what he would present to Paul after he was finished. So that was very informative, especially if you're somebody that inspires to be a mixer. Um, in the business. So that's a really good interview. Then we talk about the critics, what the critics say, and there was actually some really good reviews for Press to Play when it first came out, which I was kind of surprised by because I remember the press video coming out. I watched it the first when it premiered, and but it didn't make me want to go out
By the
and get
record.
the by the record. I did read reviews of the album,
Well,
so it's just really cool to see these now.
well, it's cool. And again, kudos to Paul for doing this because he everybody, and he points it out, all Q magazine, the LA Times, Rolling
Right.
Stone, Chicago Tribune, all hailing it as like the greatest record since Band on the Run.
And
Now,
that's just funny because he's
yeah,
still getting this. He's still getting this is his best album since Band on the Run,
oh, the best album since Band on
since
the
Band on
Run.
the Run. Yeah.
The best album since, the best album since. And
Yeah.
you know what? But it's hype. Newspapers and publications want to sell magazines. So
Right.
if they're going to throw McCartney on the front cover, it would, and Paul mentions this in his piece, that it's foolish for them not to, they're not going to just throw shade
Right.
at an album and
Right.
say, well, we really think it sucks, but we're not going to say that. We're going to just say it's his best album since Band on the Run, which of
Right.
course it's not.
And yeah, and then exactly what he said with Q Magazine. I mean, Q Magazine, this was their premiere copy. Paul's on the cover. They're
Yes.
reviewing Press to Play. Are they really going to trash
No,
a record that they're just honored to have the musician on their
they're
cover,
they're not going to do that. It's bad for business. So we're
Right,
going to,
right. And then you've got Chris Selevic also
also
talking
saying it. A,
very highly about the record. Go ahead.
Chris says, a work quote that stands almost on par with Band on the Run, end quote. Now, come on. And we interviewed Chris. He probably doesn't even remember that he said that, but
But he also did say when we were interviewing that, he wanted to do it for more like a in favor of Paul. I mean, Paul was getting a lot of trash then, and he really wanted to,
you're right. I
you
remember him
know,
saying that. You're right.
right,
He wanted to kind of give him, because he was always getting crapped on about
right.
everything. Yeah. But I hate that critics do that. Just listen to an album for what it is, and trash it, but don't call it it's the best ever since. And that just gets
Right.
stale. That just gets incredible stale. Yeah, Anthony DeCurtis called. Yeah, Anthony DeCurtis was a great writer from Rolling Stone. So one of the sturdiest LPs of McCartney's post-Beatle career. Like, okay. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in an '80s McCartney mood, which we
Right.
all kind of go through, you can listen to this album for like
Mm.
once or twice. I'm like, okay, but then you're gonna put it back. That's just it.
Yeah, I like Lynn's the headline here for Chicago Tribune. No silly love songs on press to play, and calls it McCartney's most rocking album in ages.
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 I guess she missed Back to the
She
Egg.
missed Back to the Egg.
She missed Back to the Egg. Sweetheart, go back 7 years, hun. Or did you miss that one? Or maybe she wasn't old enough.
Maybe she wasn't writing then. Who knows?
She
But
might have been right. His our
yeah,
sturdiest. That's what I'm saying. Like, people, get your head out of your ass.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, this was really cool. I'm glad this was out. And then on the second to last page, then you get
Well, the discography, which
this
is so great.
discography, the UK single discography with press. You get all the different versions. You get the 7-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch. Pretty Little Head. You get the 7-inch, 12-inch, and cassette. And then Only Love Remains. You got the 7-inch and the 12-inch.
Yeah.
All with
And
the
it's
different
nice.
remixes.
And they're giving you the labels and all them, and that's
Right.
everything. And
Right.
to keep track of all
Who
these
mixed them?
remixes.
Yeah, and who
mixed them?
mixed them?
That's cool. I mean, that's very nice to have. Yeah, who mixed them, and even who helped them. I mean, so
And it's too bad he didn't talk to Julian, because Julian here remixed 2 of these as well.
yeah,
It looks like. So it's too bad he wasn't able to get Julian for 3 of them. Actually, he remixed the 12-inch stuff on a tightrope. Then you've got the 12-inch It's Not True. And then you got the 10-inch It's Not True. So he remixed It's Not True a couple times.
he
Then
did.
so but we got him, so that was cool.
Yeah, we got him. But I mean, it's just a pretty affordable thing. I think it was 12
Yeah.
quid. It
Right.
turned out to be about I think maybe a little less than $20. But
And it was got here quick too. I
very
was actually surprised how quick. I thought it was going to be like 2 weeks.
easily.
And here it is. I think it was like 4 days later I got
Yeah,
this
you
thing,
got it
so,
before I did, and
yeah.
you're west of me, so that was actually
Right.
interesting that you got it before I did.
Right.
But I mean, kudos to Paul and all the folks at SDE.com to do this. I listen. PSA, Paul, you could do one of these for every one of McCartney releases, and we'll buy them.
Right. Yeah, really like the illustration here by Brianna Ashby. Great job here on there. I like the image of Paul. So yeah, I mean the adverts are really cool. The track
Yeah,
by
the
track is
original,
really cool.
the track by
Yeah.
track, the adverts. I mean, you're not going to see
Yeah.
this stuff. Well researched, well thought
Right.
out, laid out. I mean, this is just superb research and put together, and everything we've come to expect from the folks over there at Super Deluxe Edition. It's just
Right.
this is this is our people. They get us.
Yeah. So good job with you, Paul. Glad to have this, and maybe do 2000 next time. I think this is sold out now. I don't think it's available anymore. Hopefully, if you did get one, if you got it signed, let us know. In the comments. We'd love to hear from you if you got one, and what did you think of it? Was it worth your time? Was it worth the money? I
I tell
think
you
it
what,
was
it is because it's such a criticized and overlooked period of McCartney's career that has not really been given that much
right.
attention to. So I mean, Flowers got its due praise. This is the first time that this period has really been looked at on this level, short of like this could accompany an archive. This could go right well with an
Right.
archive. All the work that
Right.
went into this, and maybe when you and I talked about this last week, that off the air, that if he actually is going to do an archive release of Press to Play, he can use a lot of this material.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Hugh's not open for making comments about, that time, I mean, obviously they can probably, borrow the comments from this. Absolutely. It seems like, the people, Jerry Murata. I mean, he seemed to have a
Oh,
pleasant time making
he
this
loved
record.
it. We
Yeah,
we interviewed Jerry over the
yeah,
summer, early spring, late spring, I forget. He was a great interview, wasn't he?
yeah. Oh, bundle of laughs.
He was hysterical. We could have talked to him for hours.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, definitely would love to talk to Carlos. I mean, the guitar player who performed on the record.
Carlos Alomar.
Carlos, yeah, absolutely, and talk to more people on that during that record, and hopefully we can sometime soon. So, Hugh, we'd love to talk to you as well.
Yes, we would.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, anything you want to add before we sign off on this one?
Not much, brother. Just looking to keep digging the music and digging all the content and working on our shows over the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody out there for joining us. We appreciate it. Please leave your comments in the comment section, and we'll try to respond or give them the thumbs up. And everybody out there, we really appreciate it. So you can get a hold of us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Two Legs Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Hopefully, you're watching us on YouTube right now. That's Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. If you're listening to the audio on Podbean or iTunes or iHeartRadio, whatever, please come on over and check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. We'd really appreciate it. We're well over 700 subscribers now, so we're looking to continue to build the YouTube page. So please help us and support us there as well. Andy, it's great to see you as well. We'll be seeing you again here soon for the next episode. As always, everybody out there, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care, everyone.